passed and others are wounded. But we got a lot more work to do. We got to get this under control. We got to get this under control. But having said that, I just want to keep just a slight moment of silence for all those families.
Well, a little earlier, I spoke to our correspondent, Kethevane Gorjestani in Washington. First off, she brought us up to date with the very latest.
This shooting happened at a July 4th parade. At the beginning of that parade, it was around 10 a.m. when that shooting happened. And of course, at least 6 people confirmed dead, 24 at least injured, and some in critical condition. And so the suspect in that shooting wasn't immediately caught. It actually took several hours. First, the suspect, the person of interest, was identified by authorities saying that they were looking for that 22-year-old white male. They looked for him across the area, and eventually, after hours of a sort of a manhunt, there was an officer that spotted him in a car. There was a short pursuit between police officers and that person of interest, and they eventually managed to take him into custody. He is believed to have surrendered once he realized that he was not going to get away from those officers. They took him into custody, but so far that person is considered as such a person of interest. No charges filed yet against him, but authorities in their last press conference did say that they strongly believe that this was the person who was responsible for that mass shooting at the July 4th parade. But they also said that the investigation was just beginning. They have recovered a firearm, but they are still looking for a motive, even though they said that this looked, at least for now, as totally random. They want to know why this person of interest chose this place, chose this parade, chose to do that. And they're also looking to see how he got his hands on that weapon. So still a lot of questions left unanswered for now, because the investigation is just getting started.
Kethevane, I'm not sure how many times I've asked this question, other journalists have asked this question, how many times you've had to answer this question. Will this mass shooting make any difference to gun control there?
Well, that is a question that many Americans also ask themselves, and there has been a little bit of change in the past couple of weeks. Just about 10 days ago, the president did sign this bipartisan gun legislation into a law, the most meaningful gun control legislation in more than 3 decades in this country. But unfortunately, according to activists, to people who want to see more gun control, it was a step in the right direction, but way short of what is needed to end the scourge of gun violence here, of mass shootings in the United States. There were some good steps, but this was a bill of compromise between the Republicans and the Democrats, and a lot of Americans were hoping that this bill, which came after the Uvalde school shooting, that this bill would go further, would bring in things like a ban on assault weapons, would bring more steps, more strict gun control, and that is not what happened. So a step in the right direction, but a lot of people, especially those who are gun control activists, are wondering, and not being very optimistic, wondering if you don't take major steps after the slaughter of 19 kids, then what type of mass shooting does trigger that? And we've seen also in the U.S. Just lately, the Supreme Court actually expanding gun rights and limiting states' attempts to restrict access to guns. And so the question here is, will we see more of these mass shootings? And the answer is probably yes.
Kethevane Gorjestani there in Washington talking to me a little earlier on.